Chapter 4. The Complementary Ciphers to the English Language. Sumerian and Reverse Sumerian. Before we begin to learn these complementary ciphers, I want you to know what you have already uncovered with the 4 base methods is more than enough to open doors of understanding about the scripted history we're living out, and going to continue to live out until the Masonic New World Order is stopped in its tracks. Just those 4 put you a world ahead of those who have no knowledge of the numbers behind the letters. That said, these additional ciphers we're about to unmask will serve as valuable assets in unraveling the numerical code behind the very well thought out English language, even more deeply. If you have your bachelor's in Gematria right now, you're about to earn your master's and your doctorate. So put on your learning cap and let's get to it. The first of the complementary ciphers we will learn are Sumerian Gematria and Reverse Sumerian Gematria. These 2 ciphers pertain to ordinal and reverse ordinal Gematria. Sumerian Gematria is simply multiplying each ordinal value by 6, and reverse Sumerian is just the same, but doing so for reverse ordinal Gematria. The charts for each method are as follows, starting with Sumerian. With this cipher, many interesting observations open up. For starters, notice G sums to 42. Think about how capital G is in the middle of the Freemason logo. Using reduction gematria, Freemason sums to 42 as covered. At the same time, DC is named after George Washington, the Freemason, who also has the 42nd state in order of statehood. Washington State, named in his honor. If you use the Sumerian gematria on the initials DC, it too sums to 42. DC equals 24 plus 18 equals 42. Notice how X becomes 144. In the last chapter, we covered how XXX is used to symbolize 666, and how the first 144 decimal points of pi totals 666, as well as Mark of the Beast, meaning 666, equates to 144. In a moment, you will learn what is known as Satanic Gematria, which pays the biggest tribute of all to 666, and in that chapter, the word 10 equates to 144. Of course, in Roman numerals, X is 10. Also, as I mentioned earlier, using ordinal gematria, JFK assassination sums to 187, and when you multiply 187 by 6, which is exactly what is done with Sumerian gematria, that number becomes 1122 or 1122. Very similar to November 22nd or 11/22, as we write it in the United States. Of course, JFK was reportedly killed on November 22, 1963. I say reportedly because only evidence of his death is from a film made by Abram Zapruder, who was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason that wasn't clear enough to make out anything until the middle of the 1990s, and again, JFK was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, also named after a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, on 11/22. As I have mentioned, Freemasonry in high places is a network operating on the deception and lies. Moving on, as we learned last chapter, God also connects to 156. That is, through this same method, recall using ordinal gematria, God equals 26, and when you multiply 26 by 6, it totals 156. For practice, let's do the math together. God equals 42 plus 90 plus 24 equals 156. The number of a man equals 156 ordinal, man made in God's image. On the subject of God, you should also know that the Christian portion of the Holy Bible begins with the 930th chapter, which is Matthew 1. Not by chance, Christianity equates to 930 in Sumerian gematria. As we decode Let us not forget that Adam, the first man, made on the sixth day, lives to be 930 years old. Christianity equals 930. Something else worth remembering is any word with an ordinal gematria of 111 will have a Sumerian gematria of 666. $, monetary, and New York are words having these qualities. Keep in mind, regards to New York, the September 11 attack happened on the date that leaves 111 days left in the year. You might also recall the New York Mets in the 111th World Series and losing that World Series on November 1 or 11/1. If you weren't following me back then, I said why in spring training of that season, the New York Mets would most definitely be in that World Series. We'll get to it later. The NBA Finals is another title that sums to 111 in ordinal and 666 in Sumerian. Now let's transition to the reverse Sumerian chart. In terms of the single letters in the reverse Sumerian cipher, notice that M equates to 84. This is one of the most significant numbers in the study that we have not learned to appreciate this far. In reverse ordinal, Masonry sums to 84. And something very interesting about the letter M is that every single alphabet that has an M in it uses the letter to begin the word Mason or Masonry without exception. Just wait until we get to the McDonald's Golden Arches, especially what happened to them in 1984. It is in this same cipher where Isopsephy, Archons, Semitic, Ciphers, and Genesis each sum to 666, among other things, including fingers. On the subject of fingers, I am sure you are aware of how the 666 hand sign can be made by touching your pointer finger and thumb to form a circle, and then spacing out the middle finger, ring finger, and pinky finger accordingly. If you try this with your left hand, you should be able to quickly visualize the 666 hand symbol. This is something you will routinely see entertainers do when they are posing for the camera, and oftentimes quite purposefully. If you make the hand sign with your right hand, it reads as 666 for the person looking at you. In the chapter on sports rigging, I will talk about a very specific fingers incident where Mark Jackson, the former NBA player, now color commenter, talked about Stephen Curry's incredible court vision, which prompted Stephen Curry to make the 666 hand signs at the exact moment, and then put them around his eyes, creating the 666 goggles right on cue, as the camera then zoomed in on his fingers and face. It was one of those magical scripted sports moments, revealing what is truly going on in these very deceptive and dishonest leagues, at least for those with eyes to see it, which are few and far between. But we're going to change that, truth seeker. Fingers equals 666. Please pay mind that many people make this hand gesture subconsciously while speaking, and they do not mean anything sinister or secretive by it. Sometimes I ask myself if the current President Donald Trump is aware that at nearly every moment he is speaking, he is gesturing this sign. Perhaps he is, but one cannot always be certain. If you have seen the film Network from 1976, Ned Beatty has a very powerful scene where he is talking about how we live in a world that is only about dollars and cents. As he is talking about dollars, he begins to make the 666 hand gesture, as we just covered in Sumerian Gematria. $sign equates to 666, so we can be certain this gesture during this memorable scene is no coincidence. The world is a business, Mr. Beale. If you have not seen the film, please make sure you do. It is an eye-opener and should be required viewing, because it spells out the truth of what is taking place in this world, including manufactured terrorism for agenda, viewer interest, and TV ratings. One of the most memorable lines from the film is, "First you've got to get mad, and truth seeker, let me tell you, I got real mad on September 11, 2001. knowing I was being lied to, and I said then, "I am a human being, damn it! My life has value." Just kidding. That's another line from the same film. But what I did say is, I'm going to get to the bottom of these lies, and I'm going to make sure the whole world knows. That was the seed of what led me to the discoveries about the code behind our language that I now share with you in this book, which will only become more profound from here. Coming back to financial terms for a moment, Dow Jones sums to 666 in reverse, Sumerian, and 33 in reduction. If you were paying attention February 2, 2018, the 33rd day of the year, you'll recall the Dow Jones fell by 666 points on this date. And of course, not by coincidence. Making matters even more interesting, if you write out February 2nd, or 33, or even 666, they each equate to 156 in ordinal. As you learned, 666 is the number of the beast, the number of a man, where the latter phrase sums to 156 in ordinal as well. Keep in mind that man has 33 vertebrae. By observing such things, you can grow your appreciation for how the ciphers work together, and where their relevance is derived. Further, on October 20, 2017, it was reported that the U.S. fiscal year deficit had decreased to $666 billion. Consider October sums to 666 in reverse, Sumerian. Consider further, that was a date with numerology of 47, 10 plus 20 plus 17 equals 47. And the words banks and beast have ordinal gematria of 47. Again, the number 666 is the number of the beast. Dow Jones equals 666. October equals 666. Before we learn the next complementary cipher, I want you to know that Star Spangled Banner sums to 1776 using reverse Sumerian, just like the year of establishment for the United States of America, where Star Spangled Banner is the national anthem for the nation. For the record, the name Star Spangled Banner is incredibly coded in multiple ciphers. If you ever wondered where a word such as spangled comes from, you'll no longer have such questions. In reduction, it sums to 33, and that's just the beginning. And now next up, we're going to discuss what is known as Francis Bacon Gematria. In this cipher, capital letters matter. The code is as simple as this. Lowercase through Z is 1 through 26, and uppercase A through Z is 27 through 52. Francis Bacon. Right away, what should stand out to you is capital G is 33. Think about the Freemason logo. And the big G. Again, the Masonic headquarters in DC has 33 pillars, each standing 33 feet tall. As we covered prior, the words masonry and secrecy each sum to 33 as well. The words masonry and secrecy also have gematria of 39, and you'll notice capital M equates to 39 in this method as well. Consider Freemasonry is based in Kabbalah, and Kabbalah is largely based in the 39 books of the Old Testament. Something else fun to think about is how a deck of cards has 52 in a set, with 4 categories of 13 cards. If you write out the word game, capitalizing G, it sums to 52, same as the word card with the C capitalized. Card equals 29 plus 1 plus 18 plus 4 equals 52. Game equals 33 plus 1 plus 13 plus 5 equals 52. In this method, the word God also equates to 52, like the number of weeks in the year. Recall what we learned about the 2 Aztec calendars and how they coordinate every 52 years, a special number we will learn to appreciate in the chapter on Kabbalah. God equals 33 plus 15 plus 4 equals 52. Also interesting, if you write humanity with the H capitalized, it totals 137, the 33rd prime number, corresponding with the reduction gematria values of 33 for people, person, and goyim, and also tying in with the 33 vertebrae in our back. Humanity equals 34 plus 21 plus 13 plus 1 plus 20 plus 9 plus 20 plus 25 equals 137. Another interesting observation is what happens to USA in this method. USA equals 47 plus 45 plus 27 equals 119. Recall it was September 11 or 11/9 that reshaped the USA by the numbers. Essentially, for this chapter, you're adding plus 26 to the ordinal gematria value for every capital letter in a name, acronym, phrase, or sentence. This simple trick opens up a world of meaningful observations that you will uncover as you work with the code. For another example, let's experiment with America before transitioning to the next cipher. America equals 1 plus 13 plus 5 plus 18 plus 9 plus 3 plus 1 equals 50, ordinal. America equals 27 plus 13 plus 5 plus 18 plus 9 plus 30 plus 1 equals 76, Francis Bacon. Think about how America, which now has 50 states and many territories, was established in 1776, or 76, where the number 76 connects to symbol, and more in Gematria. For our next cipher, it is the second variation of the Francis Bacon cipher, which we will refer to as Frank Baconis, what was Frank Bacon's alias. In this cipher, capital and lowercase letters again make all the difference, but the arrangement is slightly different. Frank Baconis. Just as the other Francis Bacon cipher opens up many meaningful and related observations, so does this one. Notice G sums to 13 using this format. Out of all the numbers important to Freemasonry, the number 13 is among the tops. Consider the United States of America, established by a network of Freemasons, began with 13 colonies, and on the highly Masonic U.S. flag, there are 13 stripes, and were once 13 stars, where the word star in reduction equates to 13. Also, interesting is the Fibonacci sequence, which we will learn more about next chapter. The number 13 is the 7th Fibonacci number. Again, in ordinal, G is 7. Of the most important observations in this cipher is the word time. Using Frank Baconis, the word time equates to 93 when the T is capitalized, which is another number we have not yet learned to appreciate, but is the one we will discover of the greatest significance before the end cover. What the number represents is Saturn, the 6th planet from the Sun, and to the ancients known as the keeper of time. Until the 1700s, Saturn was considered to be the last planet and most distant from Earth, prior to the discoveries of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, the latter of which is no longer considered a planet by the majority of science. Equally as important, we are told the Sun is 93 million miles away, the true keeper of time. Time equals 93, Frank Baconis. Time equals 93, ALK, Kabbalah. Saturn equals 93, ordinal. Father time equals 93, reverse reduction, E equals 22. In the chapter on September 11, we will uncover how the 93 World Trade Center bombing, blamed on the blind sheik, a name summing to 93 in ordinal gematria, was purposely coordinated with September 11, 2001, proving that both rituals were not the work of terrorist boogeymen contrived for news media, but the same New World Order tyrants who are very, very repetitive in how they operate. Next up, we are going to unlock what is known as Jewish gematria, a tribute to the numerical coding behind the Latin alphabet, which again, English is based on. If you are not aware, the Latin alphabet at the time of the fall of Rome was 23 letters, missing the equivalent of J, U, and W. Sound out those letters. Now with that said, let's introduce Jewish gematria, which is also similar to Hebrew traditional, as we covered in the beginning of Chapter 2. Jewish gematria. As absurd as this cipher might look, it is full of meaning and possibly the most relevant of the ciphers you will learn in this chapter. As was mentioned last chapter, the word Masonic sums to 223 in this cipher, a number and relationship worth memorizing. Again, 223 is the 48th prime number, and in both Hebrew and in English, Freemason sums to 48. In English, the word Illuminati also equates to 48, and 223 and 48 are numbers we will come across routinely as we progress. Where the significance of 223 originates is a Saros, a measurement for predicting eclipses, and how modern science is able to be so accurate with such calculations, as each eclipse is working on a perfect pattern, that is 223 synodic months. As mentioned, the mathematics behind the language are in tribute to the real-world phenomenon taking place, especially in relation to time. Again, the Freemasons are the masters of knowledge, including that of the sun, moon, stars, spirituality, and most definitely language. Masonic equals 30 plus 1 plus 90 plus 50 plus 40 plus 9 plus 3 equals 223. The Synagogue of Satan equals 223 ordinal. In light of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry being large and in charge when it comes to the code, you'll notice MC, or Mick, is a very common start to surnames for those of Scottish ancestry. Using this cipher, MC is 3 plus 30 equals 33. Go figure. On a related note, in reduction gematria, ancestry also sums to 33. As we'll get to, it is the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry in control of police throughout the United States of America and much of the modern world. In Jewish gematria, the word police sums to 147, a number special to Freemasonry. As we begin to learn last chapter, and in reduction, police is 33. Police equals 60 plus 50 plus 20 plus 9 plus 3 plus 5 equals 147. Another number worth recognizing from this cipher is 118, representing the word death. On February 15, 2016, I uploaded a video on YouTube telling Prince, the musician, that I had hoped he found my video, and he better watch his behind or he was going to end up dead like his ex-girlfriend, who had been reported dead earlier that day, before the 58th Grammys. Purple Rain equals 58, reduction. In the video, I explained how the numbers 118 and 67 were coded on him, both fateful and both connected to ritualistic killing, as you will learn in the chapter on murder by numbers. The name of a song by The Police from 1983, where in the lyrics they teach you that killing is as simple as learning your ABCs. Even better, there's another band called Slipknot, and they have a track called Gematria, the killing name. Regarding Prince, to make a long story short, he was found dead 67 days later, 67 days from the death of Vanity, April 21, in the elevator of his home. Death equals 118 Jewish, elevator equals 118 reverse ordinal, Prince equals 38, Rogers equals 46, Nelson equals 34, Prince Rogers Nelson equals 118, reduction, S equals 10. FYI, his birthday was June 7, which he died 47 days short of, the number representing time in ordinal. Think about Prince and the time. Prince's first album was For You, and on his best-selling album, Purple Rain, a hit song recorded in 1983, 33 years before his death, that is well remembered, goes, I would die for you. But if you look at the way the track is spelled, it is I would die, the number 4, the letter U. Consider that U is the 21st letter, and Prince was found dead April 21, or 4/21, a lot like the number 4 and the letter U, and similar to For You, his first album. There's a lot more to the story. We'll get to it in due time. This same cipher will blow you away when it comes to September 11, 2001. I'm going to save some goodies for the chapter on the subject, but I'll give you a big chunk of meat right now. The Jewish holy day of remembrance for the destruction of the two temples, Solomon's and Herod's, which supposedly were both destroyed on the same day of the Jewish calendar year, 657 years apart. is known as Tisha B'Av. Using this cipher, Tisha B'Av sums to 911. Very similar to how we express the date of the United States, 9/11. For your history bank, the Babylonians in 587 BCE sacked Solomon's temple, and the Romans destroyed Herod's temple in 70 CE after the Jewish rebellion of 66 CE, in both instances all those years apart. The temples were destroyed on what is known as the 9th of Av. For a bit more history, it was in 1968, 33 years before September 11, 2001, that 911 was made the National Emergency Dialing Code. WTC construction began and George W. Bush graduated from Yale's Skull and Bones. Not by chance, Bush II has birth numerology of 33 and the title Bonesman, a name given to Yale Skull and Bones alumni, equates to 33 in reduction. Let us not forget that 2004, when he was running for re-election as president, his opposition was John Kerry, who was also part of Skull and Bones, the society only allowing 15 new members per year, highly exclusive. It was Tim Russer of NBC's Meet the Press who exposed this fact and who died later in history by the code. We'll get to it. Now let us decode Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av equals 100 plus 9 plus 90 plus 8 plus 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 700 equals 911. If you want to get ahead of the curve, try Al-Qaeda terrorist attack using this same cipher. I bet you can take an educated guess of what number it sums to. I'll give you a hint. It's the same as jihadists and division. Also important, the 9th of Av is the 9th day of the 5th month, which is expressed commonly as 5/9, something like 59. In Jewish gematria, the word kill equates to 59, and this is one to remember because a lot of people have been 86'd by this exact number, especially those of darker complexions, and we'll cover why in the race war chapter. This also ties in with 2 temples being destroyed on this date in history. Kill equals 10 plus 9 plus 20 plus 20 equals 59. 59 is the 17th prime. Kill equals 17 in reduction. Another one of the most important values from this cipher is the output of 144 for the word time. Think about this number in regards to the way we measure time. Each day has 1,440 minutes, 24 hours times 60 minutes. Further, the square root of 144 is 12, something like 12 months in a year, and 12 hours in the AM and PM. In addition to time, summing to 144, so does the word light, as well as the word nadis, which are important to Hinduism and measured in quantities of 72,000 as well as 144,000, like the tribes of Israel from Revelation, which are also 144,000 in number. Time equals 100 plus 9 plus 30 plus 5 equals 144. Light equals 20 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8 plus 100 equals 144. Nadis equals 40 plus 1 plus 4 plus 9 plus 90 equals 144. Something else you must know is Star Spangled Banner equates to 666 in this cipher. Making this all the more fascinating is that if you use the 4 base ciphers, Star Spangled Banner sums to 73 in reduction, 107 in reverse reduction, 190 in ordinal, and 296 in reverse ordinal. Then if you add those 4 values, 73 plus 107 plus 190 plus 296, the outcome is 666. When you factor in the July 4th birthday of the United States of America, or 4/7, not too far off from 47, the number symbolizing beast, things become all the more interesting. Another important point to know about the United States of America in light of Jewish gematria is that the name of the nations sums to 929 in this cipher. matching the number of chapters in the Old Testament. Consider in reduction gematria, United States and Old Testament both equate to 40 as well. It is riddles such as this that prove beyond a shadow of a doubt what group of people truly established this nation, and by what code. Of course, that code is of letters and numbers, and being derived from Kabbalah, as we learned, which is of extreme importance to Freemasonry. For one last example of Jewish gematria, and to further the point I just made, notice the word garden sums to 137 using the cipher. Consider the Bible begins in the Garden of Eden, a story from Genesis, summing to 33 in reduction, which means in the beginning, summing to 137 in ordinal, where 137 is the 33rd prime number. As we decode, keep in mind the source code of this numerical language behind English is no doubt the Torah, which begins with Genesis. And in Hebrew, Kabbalah sums to 137, where the knowledge was derived from to construct the Torah as it is written. Garden equals 7 plus 1 plus 8 plus 4 plus 5 plus 40 equals 137. Next up is what is known as English Extended Gematria. This cipher is a direct tribute to Hebrew traditional and Greek traditional, and bears much fruit. In a chapter ahead on the Greeks, I will introduce you to their alphabet and coding system, which is very similar to the Hebrew system we acquainted ourselves with in the second chapter. The chart for English Extended Gematria is as follows. English Extended. This is the same cipher religion equates to 260 in. Also related, as we covered last chapter, 666 is a biblical number. And again, this code of letters and numbers is absolutely biblical in itself. One more time, it is Johann Gutenberg credited with the first published Bible. Let's now decode the name Gutenberg for another 666 to add to the collection. Gutenberg equals 7 plus 300 plus 200 plus 5 plus 50 plus 2 plus 5 plus 90 plus 7 equals 666. The word business also sums to 666, and as we know, religion is a big business. I just mentioned the scene from the film Network where Ned Beatty's character is signing 666 with his fingers while talking about dollars and the world being a business. Let us not forget we just uncovered how $sign equates to 666 as well. Business equals 2 plus 300 plus 100 plus 9 plus 50 plus 5 plus 100 plus 100 equals 666. In recent history, we just saw Mr. Chicago, Mr. Sex Sells, Hugh Hefner, die at 91. On September 27, 2017, what was the Jesuit order's birthday, an order established on September 27, 1540, a date with numerology of 91. Picture him in his red and black smoking jacket. Those colors are the same as the Jesuits. Chicago, where he called home, a city with major Masonic, Jesuit, and Zionist affiliations, only to be outdone by New York in the United States, is one having 91 gematria in this cipher as well. On the same day he died at 91, the Chicago Cubs clinched their division with their 91st win, what is the 13th triangular number, all part of the script, more in sync than a 90s boy band. Chicago equals 3 plus 8 plus 9 plus 3 plus 1 plus 7 plus 60 equals 91. For some extra calculating practice with this cipher, the word religion sums to 260, as mentioned. As we covered, the number 260 matches the number of chapters in the New Testament, as we learned in the opening chapter discussing the significance of the 26 letters in the English alphabet and the roots of the code. Religion equals 90 plus 5 plus 30 plus 9 plus 7 plus 9 plus 60 plus 50 equals 260. Also significant, the word time in this cipher sums to 254, and September 11 in non-leap years is the 254th day of the year. This is a number that shows up again and again in false flag rituals. As mentioned multiple times already, the code largely points back to time, so the numbers relating to time behind the alphabet are of great importance. Time equals 200 plus 9 plus 40 plus 5 equals 254. Light equals 30 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8 plus 200 equals 254. Think about time and light. In ordinal gematria, Saturn, the keeper of time, which is what the planet is known as to the occult, also equates to 254. Recall you just learned Saturn sums to 93. And again, as we'll get to, the 93 World Trade Center bombing was perfectly coordinated with September 11, 2001. Saturn equals 93. The equals 33. Keeper equals 60. Of equals 21. Time equals 47. Saturn, the keeper of time, equals 254, ordinal. Another good decode in this cipher is the word God. In ordinal, Zeus sums to 71, and in English extended, God does too. At the same time, in reduction, God totals 17, the reflection of 71. Remember, this cipher pays tribute to the Greeks. God equals 71 English extended. Zeus equals 71 ordinal. To build on our appreciation of how these ciphers work together, I want to show you what I call the Ohio State Buckeye example. If you're not aware, the Ohio State Buckeyes are the college known for their athletics. Ohio is known as the Buckeye State. We'll begin by decoding Ohio State with the English extended cipher, then decode Ohio with Jewish gematria, followed by Buckeyes with Francis Bacon, followed by Buckeye with reverse ordinal. Keep in mind that the number 643 is the 117th prime. We'll also examine the Godfather in ordinal, the nickname of LeBron James, the Ohio native and star basketball player of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ohio State equals 643. 643 is the 117th prime number. Ohio equals 117, Jewish gematria. Buckeyes equals 117, Francis Bacon. Buckeye equals 117, reverse ordinal. Star, the Godfather, equals 117, ordinal. Now let's transition to Satanic gematria, and I don't mean to scare you away with the name. It is titled this way for a specific reason, paying tribute to 666, the number of the beast. Satanic gematria is almost the same as ordinal gematria, but instead of starting with 1 and counting up to 26, you begin with 36 and count up to 61. Satanic. Notice right away, G equates to 42 in this cipher, just as does in Sumerian gematria. One more time, Freemason equates to 42 in the reduction method, and Freemason logo showcases the G right in the center. But more important than that is what happens when you write out Satanic gematria using this cipher. Before decoding, and on the subject of 42, Freemason, you should know that if you take the number dividing into 42 and add them together, they sum to 96. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6 plus 7 plus 14 plus 21 plus 42 equals 96. Using ordinal gematria, the words Freemason and Satanic each equate to 96 as well. And using Jewish gematria, which we just learned, the word free alone is also 96. Now those points aside, let's decipher Satanic gematria using the Satanic gematria cipher. Satanic equals 54 plus 36 plus 55 plus 36 plus 49 plus 44 plus 38 equals 312. Gematria equals 42 plus 40 plus 48 plus 36 plus 55 plus 53 plus 44 plus 36 equals 354. Satanic gematria equals 666. As we covered, the number 666 is the 36th triangular number, meaning if you add the numbers 1 through 36 together, they total 666. Here in this chapter, A is 36. Also, the biggest number in the cipher is Z. What is number 61? One more time, the number 61 is the 18th prime number, and 18 here in this cipher, A is 36. Also, the biggest number in this cipher is Z. What is number 61? One more time, the number 61 is the 18th prime number, and 18 factors into 6 plus 6 plus 6. Ask yourself, could it be any more perfect if you write out 66 books? It also sums to 666 in this same cipher. What is the length of most Bibles? Equally as interesting, first 5 books sums to 666, which are referenced in the Torah, where the Kabbalah code originates. That brings the relevance to letters, numbers, and their respective coding. Personally, observing this, it makes me think that the reason 26 letters was chosen for this English alphabet was for this exact reason, to make these calculations possible. Consider in the Bible, a book of coded numbers. It is 666 that is put in the reader's face in the 66th book, and has been made famous because of the mystery and intrigue surrounding it. In this same cipher, please know time sums to 187, a number that is large and in charge, as we covered. It represents Elohim, as well as the beginning and the end. What is time? When we get to our chapter on ritualistic killing, we'll discover how this same number has marked the end of many people's time, if you dig what I'm saying. Also worth mentioning is that Donald Trump had his GOP convention in Ohio, a span of 187 days from Inauguration Day, in 187 land. Washington, D.C. Time equals 55 plus 44 plus 48 plus 40 equals 187. Ohio equals 50 plus 43 plus 44 plus 50 equals 187. Another important value to remember from the Satanic Gematria is that death equates to 213 in this cipher, which we will learn is found around ritualistic killing time and time again. Tupac Shakur is possibly the best example in the history books of this pattern, but only one of many. In his case, he released his last studio album while alive, All Eyes on Me, February 13, 2/13, as it is written in the United States, and then he passed away September 13, exactly 213 days later. Keep in mind, February is a Black History Month, and using ordinal, the name sums to 213 too. He was also killed due to complications from a drive-by shooting, summing to 213 in reverse ordinal. Even better, if you have seen the film that shares the title All Eyes on Me, it begins with his mother, the Black Panther, a name that equates to 213 in reverse ordinal, and not by coincidence. Death equals 39 plus 40 plus 36 plus 55 plus 43 equals 213. As was mentioned earlier, Holy Bible also sums to 405 in this chapter, not too far off from the Gematria of 45, which Holy Bible equates to in reduction and reverse reduction. Don't forget the riddles with this number and Gutenberg, as well as the King James either. And just for good measure, Shakespeare sums to 405 in the English Extended Cipher, which we just learned. Also, in Satanic, it is this cipher where Catholic sums to 351, the 26th triangular number. What I want you to grasp is all these coding systems are interrelated, and when you work with them, you see just how remarkable they are. It is awe-inspiring and the product of thousands of years of application predating the existence of English. And by the way, please use the website gematrinator.com, where you can load up all of these ciphers at once, type in a word, and instantly compute all values. Now let us transition to the next two ciphers, which I will teach at once. They are known as septenary gematria and Chaldean gematria, and have many parallels. What I can tell you about these ciphers is quite frequently a given word will equate to the exact same values in both ciphers, as different as they might appear. I have only been working with these ciphers for less than a year's time at the writing of this book, but again and again the numbers they generate are so pertinent to the topic I am often researching. For example, in Chapter 2 we learned how 47 was a very special number to Washington, D.C., easily the most relevant number to the city. Out of all numbers, by no surprise, using both septenary and Chaldean, Washington, D.C. equates to 47. Washington, D.C., 4 plus 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 1 plus 7 plus 7 plus 2 plus 1 plus 4 plus 3 equals 47. Septenary. Washington, D.C. equals 6 plus 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 1 plus 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 7 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 equals 47. Chaldean. On a related note, knowing that there are 47 degrees on the Freemason compass and the Masonic headquarters, the House of the Temple is located in D.C. It is important to mention that many former members of Freemasonry who have climbed to the highest ranks have discovered that in the upper echelons the fraternity is completely satanic and quickly aborted ship. Using both methods, Satanic Temple also equates to 47 in the ordinal cipher. The word beast also sums to 47. Here is wisdom. Satanic Temple equals 47 septenary. Satanic Temple equals 47 Chaldean. When we get to the chapter on weather warfare by the numbers, we will talk about the flooding of Houston, Texas, on the most appropriate day of the calendar year for such an event, August 27, to 239th day of the year. What is the 52nd prime number? In ordinal gematria, flood sums to 52, and August 27, 2017, the date Houston flooded, was a date with 52 numerology to boot. 8/27/17 equals 8 plus 27 plus 17 equals 52. And as mentioned earlier, it was the date Stevie Ray Vaughan had died 27 years earlier, remembered for the album Texas Flood. If you look up what was reported in the news, they say 52 inches of rain fell on Texas in a matter of 5 days. And one more time, weather warfare has been admitted by the world military since the year 1952. Using the septenary method, Houston, Texas also equates to 52, a hard thing to call coincidence. Again, my advice is to use gematrinator.com, free of charge, as you decode history, and you will see how often these two ciphers come into play. Of the two, it seems septenary is most relevant, but neither should be discounted. Septenary is also the method where Saturn equates to 26, the number symbolizing God, and being a number of extreme importance in the Old Testament, where Saturn is God. To further establish the complementary ciphers are interrelated and supportive of the base ciphers, let us do a little bit more decoding on Saturn using septenary and Chaldean. As we decipher, keep in mind, Kabbalists have a 42-letter name for God that is in tribute to Saturn, which rules over the heavens, or what we also call outer space. Saturn equals 26 septenary. Space equals 26 reduction S equals 10. 26 equals 42 reduction. Saturn equals 42 reverse reduction. Outer space equals 42 reduction. Saturn equals 21 reduction. Saturn equals 21 Chaldean. 21 equals 42 reduction. 21 equals 42 Chaldean. Star. 21 is the 6th triangular number, and Saturn is the 6th planet from the Sun. Freemason equals 42 reduction. Freemasonry and Kabbalah ... star. Saturn equals 93 ordinal. 903 the 42nd triangular number. For another related example of how septenary complements the base ciphers, notice how Sun equates to 13 using the method, whereas star sums to 13 in reduction. Of course, the Sun is the nearest star that in astrology is tracked in regards to which of the 12 zodiacs it rises in at the vernal equinox. Thus, 12 zodiac constellations plus 1 equals Sun. Sun equals 13 septenary. Star equals 13 reduction. Space equals 91 reverse ordinal. 91 the 13th triangular number. Star. 13 equals 41 septenary. 41 the 13th prime number. And for one last example, notice how outer space in Chaldean coincides with space in ordinal gematria. As we decode the 44 values, keep in mind spiritual has reduction gematria of 44, and faith has an ordinal gematria of 44. This matters because, as we will cover ahead, the original spiritualities of this world were based on what was taking place above, in the heavens, in the stars. Think Jesus, the Son, and his 12 disciples. Outer space equals 44, Chaldean. Space equals 44, ordinal. Constellation equals 44, septenary. For more complementary ciphers, I will give you a trifecta that are all related as well, and typically used by those studying Kabbalah within the English language. The three ciphers are as follows. ALW Kabbalah. What this cipher is doing is counting every 11 letters while circling around the alphabet. Notice A is 1, then L, 11 letters after, is 2, then W, 11 letters after, is 3. Then if you count from W, it goes X, 1, Y, 2, Z, 3, A, 4, B, 5, C, 6, D, 7, E, 8, F, 9, G, 10, H, 11. Because H is 11 letters later, then it becomes 4. Then 11 letters after that is S, which is 5, and so on until each letter is assigned a numerical value. Please recall from Chapter 2. The word Kabbalah sums to 11 using Hebrew alphabet and related reduction Gematria system. In the next chapter, you will learn what makes number 11 special, the master number, said to be the greatest of all numbers in terms of numerical meaning. KFW Kabbalah, LCH Kabbalah. Out of these three ciphers, ALW is far and away the most relevant, with KFW being second in line. When you write out English alphabet using ALW Kabbalah cipher, it sums to 187, like the number of chapters in the Torah that the Kabbalah code is based in, and again matching the value of Elohim in Hebrew, what Kabbalah is traditionally studying in. The math for English alphabet and its far from coincidental value of 187 is as follows. English equals 25 plus 14 plus 11 plus 2 plus 23 plus 5 plus 4 equals 84. Alphabet equals 1 plus 2 plus 26 plus 4 plus 1 plus 20 plus 25 plus 24 equals 103. English alphabet equals 187 ALW Kabbalah. In this cipher, you'll also come across much overlap with the ALW and KFW. Here's one of those times where President's Day equates to 187 in both. Think about what we learned in regards to DC and 187. This is how the entire code comes together. President's Day, 26 plus 12 plus 25 plus 5 plus 23 plus 6 plus 25 plus 14 plus 24 plus 5 plus 6 plus 1 plus 15 equals 187 ALW Kabbalah. President's Day equals 26 plus 4 plus 17 plus 21 plus 23 plus 6 plus 17 plus 22 plus 8 plus 21 plus 6 plus 9 plus 7 equals 187 KFW Kabbalah. There are also some rare exceptions where each of the three ciphers will equate to the same value for a single word. One of those rarities is Riddle, summing to 74 in each. Considering Jim Carrey introduced this language of Gematria in the film Batman when he was playing the part of the Riddler, it made this fact all the more fascinating. Riddle equals 12 plus 23 plus 6 plus 6 plus 2 plus 25 equals 74 ALW Kabbalah. Riddle equals 4 plus 23 plus 6 plus 6 plus 18 plus 17 equals 74 KFW Kabbalah. Riddle equals 14 plus 0 plus 23 plus 23 plus 1 plus 13 equals 74 LCH Kabbalah. Next up is the prime numbers cipher. In this cipher, each letter of the alphabet is a prime number, meaning the first 26 prime numbers are captured, A to Z, as follows. In this cipher, ritual sacrifice sums to 477. Ritual sacrifice equals 61 plus 23 plus 71 plus 73 plus 2 plus 37 plus 67 plus 2 plus 5 plus 61 plus 23 plus 13 plus 23 plus 5 plus 11 equals 477. Regarding Hugh Hefner, he died on the 477th birthday of the Jesuit order as a ritual sacrifice by the numbers at age 91. Then just 4 days later at the Route 91 Harvest Festival on October 1st, leaving 91 days left in the year, there was a false flag killing ritual in tribute to Yom Kippur, as we briefly mentioned in Chapter 1, and will take part in depth in the chapter on the false flags ahead. Not by chance, this Las Vegas shooting came 477 days from the Orlando, Florida shooting at the Pulse nightclub on June 12, 2016, which was the worst mass shooting in U.S. history prior to what transpired in Las Vegas more recently. Consider the supposed brother of the supposed shooter in Las Vegas was interviewed in Orlando the day after the killing, and even better. Orlando, Florida equates to the same thing as Jesuit order in order, which is the number 144, our number connected to time, and as you will learn, also killing. To begin that education, Abraham Lincoln, known as Honest Abe, was shot on April 14th, or 14/4, not too far from 144. Fittingly, in Jewish gematria, the word killer sums to 144. As they say, time is a killer. At the same time, the name Abraham has an ordinal gematria of 44, and the nickname Honest Abe equates to 44 in reduction when S is counted for 10. That is similar to how kill equates to 44 in ordinal and shooting sums to 44 in reduction, same as execution. Even more, when you write out 44 as a word, it has an ordinal value of 144. I bring up this example because Honest Abe would die the day after being shot at a reportedly 7:22 a.m. April 15, 1865. This is fascinating because using the prime cipher, United States of America sums to 722, and Lincoln was the president who is credited with saving the nation. Further adding the riddle is the fact that he died on the date with the numerology of 84 and 102, which are numbers corresponding with United States of America as follows. 4/15/65 equals 4 plus 15 plus 65 equals 84. United States of America equals 84 reduction. 4/15/1865 equals 4 plus 15 plus 18 plus 65 equals 102. United States of America equals 102 reduction. S equals 10. United States of America equals 73 plus 43 plus 23 plus 71 plus 11 plus 7 plus 67 plus 71 plus 2 plus 71 plus 11 plus 67 plus 47 plus 13 plus 2 plus 41 plus 11 plus 61 plus 23 plus 5 plus 2 equals 722 primes. Next up is the triagonal number cipher. As we learned prior, triagonal numbers are those with mathematical relationships in counting. In the case of 91, since we just discussed it, it is the 13th triangular number because if you add 1 through 13, it totals 91. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 plus 13 equals 91. Thus, in this chapter, the 13th letter, which is M, equates to 91. The entire chart is as follows. Trigonal numbers. This is not a cipher you will use very often, but it one to be aware of. I have included it largely so that you can see the first 26 triangular numbers, which are worth knowing. When we talk about the Bible, we will discuss the triangular number 153 and 351, among others, as they are extremely important. Please also pay attention that when you add 1 through 9 together, it sums to 45, which is numerology, in numerology terms, breaks down to 9. 45 is 4 plus 5 is 9. As we have learned, the number 45 is connected to the Holy Bible, geometry, and gematrio, the plural of gematria. What is geometry within language? In the next chapter, you will learn what makes the number 9 a very special digit. This quality is one of those special attributes. For our last chapter, and another you will not use very often, we will uncover the square numbers cipher. And yes, this is exactly what you are probably imagining, where each letter represents the squared value of the ordinal value of each letter. The chart follows square numbers. This concludes our chapter on complementary ciphers. As we advance to the end cover, you will notice that the majority of our decoding is done with the 4 base ciphers we learned in chapter 2. But when we do use these complementary ciphers learned in this chapter, I will be certain to point out which method is in use. Please do not feel overwhelmed with the amount of information uncovered thus far. I assure you that with time you'll become familiar with these various methods, and they will become commonplace. And for one last reminder, Gematrinator.com is your friend, the website that makes computing letters into numbers a breeze. That same site can also be used to verify all prime number, triagonal number, and square number relationships, plus more.